Can I get everyone to come to their seats, please?
I'm going to talk to Andrew.
Okay. Okay. I'd like to call to order a meeting for the WRCOG Executive Committee for Monday, June the 4th. If you're here, please vote.
And Madam Chair, I will mark those that are absent in just a moment.
Okay, so we do have a quorum.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then next we are going to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. It will be led by Ben Benoit, City of Wildemar.
Everyone please stand, face our great flag. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to do things a little different today. Once a year, we have a meeting of the WRCOG Supporting Foundation. So right now, we're going to recess the WRCOG Executive Committee meeting to convene the meeting of the WRCOG Supporting Foundation. And we need to vote again for our attendance.
Yes, please. And I've got a couple entered that are not here, so I'll keep doing this as we're going along. And that's everyone.
And I believe we have a quorum. Do we have any public comments on anything not on the agenda? Seeing
I have no
none,
requests.
then we'll move to our minutes. We have a summary of the minutes from the June 5th, 2017 meeting for the foundation. This is a requested action to approve the minutes, and everybody should have gotten this as your link on your agenda for the regular meeting. So please vote. Well, first, I guess we need a motion. We do have a motion from the City of Moreno Valley and seconded by the City of Wildemar.
Yes.
No, we're voting.
And that's it, Madam Chair.
Okay, we do have one consent item, which is the fiscal year 2018-19 supporting foundation budget. This is a receive and file. Do we have any questions? Seeing none, then we will receive that item. Are there any questions or comments about the foundation? Seeing none, then we will adjourn this meeting, and our next meeting for the foundation will be scheduled for Monday, June the 3rd, 2019. Now we're going to reconvene the regular WRCOG Executive Committee meeting, and we will go to public comments, and we have one speaker request, Arnold San Miguel.
And that's all. That's it? Yeah, that's all there is.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Executive Committee. Just wanted to bring to your attention the 29th Annual USC Sol Price School of Public Policy and the SCAG 29th Annual Demographic Workshop. It's going to be held at USC's Trojan Grand Ballroom on Monday, June 11th, and the registration is complimentary for all elected officials. This year's program is entitled Lasting Demographic Impacts After the Recovery, and we'll look at new insights and research on what has changed since the recovery and what the lingering effects will be. There'll be a checkup on recent migration, fertility, and aging stats. We'll re-examine the recovery in the region. Is it overheated? Who do we expect there to be winners and losers? And there will be a presentation on housing choices and shortages as millennials seek greater life stability and as baby boomers look for their next move. And then there will be a panel on the impacts of these demographic shifts on transportation. That's all before lunch. There is a lunch keynote speaker, and then after that, everybody will break up into groups to discuss the topics. So it's A lot of information. It's action-packed. Debbie, the chair, has gone, so I highly recommend you go out there. It's a whole day, though. But you can take the train. Thank you.
And don't get lost.
I got her lost.
Okay, do we have any other public comments? Seeing none, then we'll move to approval of the minutes. We need a motion. It's been moved by District 3, seconded by the City of Murrieta. Please vote.
And I still have to log Morongo out, that's it.
Okay. So we have a motion approved, 20-0. Next, we'll move to our consent calendar, items 5A through H. Is there any items to be pulled? Seeing none, then we have a motion. It's been moved by City of Wildemar, seconded by City of Murrieta. Everyone's voted?
District 5, please vote. Thank you, sir.
Okay, motion passed, 20-0. Moving to reports. We have no report from the League of California Cities today. Our second report is on the Experience Regional Innovation Center feasibility analysis update. Andrea?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, members of the Executive Committee. My name is Andrea Howard, and WRCOG Program Manager here with an update on the Experience Sustainability and Innovation Center feasibility analysis, which was approved by this board back in October of 2017. By way of background, experience as a concept is really an outgrowth of WRCOG's Economic Development and Sustainability Framework, which has served as a guiding document for this agency since it was approved back in 2012. That framework has 6 overall goal areas that are identified as being critical to advancing quality of life in WRCOG's subregion. And the experience is seen as an opportunity to advance the framework itself by bringing those strategies to life, applying, testing, refining each one of them in those 6 goal areas, and also by showing opportunities for how we can, how we can take the project forward in the future. So additionally, experience is an opportunity we see to highlight the advances that this subregion has made, so we become known for the innovations and pioneering efforts that we are leading here in the region. And the feasibility analysis is focused on identifying specific programming that would be appropriate for this center that would draw a broad base of audience members to experience different applications and programs that you could apply to your everyday life. And to do so, we have a number of potential program areas, including co-working and meeting space, entrepreneurs, makers space, fabrication labs, interactive demonstrations for new technologies, even a smart home demonstration or a potential hero home, incubator space for new and growing businesses, event space, both for social events to raise revenues to offset the cost of such a site, and also we recognize a real dearth in meeting space and conference space in this region as it is. And then potentially dining space, being able to promote healthy eating opportunities and being a gathering space to really bring people together. So in the course of this project, of course, we are drawing upon other relevant models. We want this to be a site that is really tailored for the subregion to take advantage of the unique opportunities and address the challenges to this area. But these models provide some general idea for what we envision for this project, and we've grouped them by purpose area. Those are educational and community serving, research and economic development focused. And we have a couple of local models that some of you may be familiar with that I'll just go over here briefly. So out under that education area, we have the Frontier Project out at Rancho Cucamonga, which is part of the water districts. The Lyle Center for Regenerative Studies is out at Cal Poly Pomona under that research area. They're piloting a number of new technologies right there on site, and they're able to test them. They have even students who are living on site and testing, and they're making projects out of these, out of the space that they have there. They're showing passive heating and cooling spaces, green roof technology, all in a very cost-effective way to achieve more sustainability in our everyday approach to living and construction. And then there's the Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator in Los Angeles under that economic development area that would help to accelerate it does help to accelerate the commercialization of clean technologies, and has really been a big boom for the city of Los Angeles and the county overall. It's a partnership between the city of LA, the Department of Water and Power, and some private interests. The overall purpose of Experience is really to define in realistic terms the viability of bringing this kind of concept to life. Over the course of the next several months through August, we will be defining the mission and goals for Experience, defining the conceptual program areas and building elements that would be included in this project, evaluating the feasibility of 4 alternative sites that are included in the analysis, identifying potential financing and partnership arrangements, and then finally, we would be looking at next steps to implementation if the final analysis concludes that this is a viable project to move forward. And now to guide this process, we've convened a steering committee composed of members of WRCOG's executive committee, including Chair Franklin, members Bailey, Ciarto, and Bash, and as well as members from other regional stakeholders, RTA, UCR, County EDA, and public health and more. This is our program schedule. As you can see, the first 3 meetings for the steering committee have already been held. In short, and each of these are included, a summary of each is included in the attachment to your staff report. And in short, meeting 1 was geared toward setting the stage for the analysis and establishing its initial goals. Meeting 2 was centered around presentations and a Q&A with representatives from 3 different regional models, the Lyle Center, Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator, and the Frontier Project. And meeting 3 looked back at the mission and helped to refine that a little bit further and identified program elements for inclusion in the study going forward. Meeting 4 will review the results of the demand analysis and establish criteria for evaluating the sites, and that's a slight deviation from what was originally planned for this meeting, for those of you who have been involved in the process and have noticed that change. And then meeting 5, we will present the findings on alternative governance, operations, and partnerships, and may also look back at the constraints associated with each of the 4 sites. And finally, at meeting 6, we will present the final recommendations and identify opportunities for further study. And we've been capturing each of these meetings on film as well as other major milestones in this analysis process. We have limited time here with you today, so we're not going to be sharing those, but I will share one with you via email that encapsulates really the spirit of all 3 of them. This is a receive and file item that concludes my report. I would be happy to take any questions.
Thank you for your report. And I want to add Laura is also on the committee.
Did I not say Councilmember Roten? Yes, she is. Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions? This is an update, and we know that you'll come back to us with more updates as the process moves forward.
Correct.
There are no questions. We thank you.
Thank you.
And I think you mentioned Rusty, though, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, our next item is approval of the final active transportation plan. Christopher?
Good evening, Christopher Gray, Director of Transportation. I'm here to introduce Chris Zhang, who's a program manager in the Transportation Department, and we're presenting to you for approval a final draft of our Regional Active Transportation Plan. The project is funded through a grant we received from Caltrans, and we've been working on this document extensively since 2015. We have provided you with several updates, and this document has also been reviewed in detail by your planning directors, your public works directors, and we also brought it to the city managers group as well. So without further ado, Mr. Zhang can take it away.
Thanks, Chris. Madam Chair, members of the committee, here to give you a final report on the active transportation plan. So as Chris said, in 2016, we received an active transportation program grant from the state to fully fund this active transportation plan. This funding program has actually been utilized by a lot of our member agencies since its inception, and a number of your jurisdictions are actually gearing up to submit an application this summer for this grant. So we're excited that a lot of our jurisdictions are taking advantage of the program. The goal was to provide a robust, non-motorized network throughout the WRCOG region for people who either need or choose to be mobile in a non-motorized mode, and develop a regional network utilizing the plans already created by a lot of our jurisdictions. We want to make sure that we emphasize that this plan is voluntary, and WRCOG's hope is that jurisdictions and stakeholders utilize it as a resource in their pursuit of grant funding for active transportation, and the plan is utilized as a guiding document of how the identified projects in the plan can be implemented. So as we developed the plan, we utilized WRCOG's Public Works Committee, Planning Directors Committee, as well as stakeholder groups as advisors in gathering input and feedback. In 2016, we established the goals and objectives of the plan and developed the draft network. And then we spent a lot of last year refining the facilities with agency staff, as Chris pointed out, as well as drafting the actual plan. So the plan contains the listed items on the screen, and we hope that this plan is only the beginning of active transportation in Western Riverside County, and we're more than happy to provide assistance to our member agencies if interested in providing additional active transportation options. One of the items listed was the regional network. Here's an overview of the network identified with assistance from your jurisdiction staff. In addition, the network was developed from input from prior local and regional plans, collision review, and analysis of regional destinations. As mentioned before, we conducted a series of follow-up conversations with jurisdiction staff, a lot of the times with neighboring jurisdictions, to ensure that the input was accurate and included in the network. Now, another item that was listed as part of the plan was that the plan provides detailed project-level summary sheets for those identified facilities on the regional network. We really want to highlight a lot of time and effort was spent on these project sheets because the information actually provided on the sheets are required in the active transportation program's application. So we're really trying to tee these projects up for jurisdiction staff to utilize in pursuing grant funding. As shown on the screen, the sheets provide a project description, key destinations and connections for the transportation network, collision data, demographics of the project area, what the project does for the health environment, benefits of implementing the facility, how the project fares for the disadvantaged communities calculation, cost estimates, and feasibility items to consider when implementing the project. So one additional item that came out of the funding was bicycle and pedestrian support, education and support. We supported a few community events as listed on the screen. We've also conducted a few education workshops for cyclists and also conducted lawn education workshops for police departments. As long as our budget allows for it, we will continue to offer support because we've heard a lot of positive feedback from both the community as well as the police departments. So lastly, the plan also identifies a few next steps for WRCOG itself. We'll continue to assist our member agencies in seeking grant funding by announcing grant funding programs and continuing with our grant writing assistance program, which a lot of our cities have taken advantage of, and we have found some good return on investment in our grant funding program, in our grant writing program. We'll continue to identify and hold training courses for jurisdiction staff as it relates to active transportation, and we'll also have we've also had initial discussions with county public health to develop a formal safe routes to school program, and we'll continue those conversations in the coming months. And lastly, we'll stay engaged in pursuing open streets events with our member agencies, which a few of our jurisdictions have held these events and will continue to hold these events. So this concludes the brief report. We just really want to make sure that we emphasize that the plan is voluntary, and we really hope that the jurisdictions utilize it as a resource, and we're happy to be here as to assist you guys in pursuing those grant funding for active transportation. So with that, there is a requested action to approve the active transportation plan, but before that, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the active transportation? It's been moved by the City of Wildemar, seconded by the City of Moreno Valley.
Western Municipal Water District, please vote. Thank you.
Motion passed, 20-0. Next, we'll have, we do not have our TAC chair here today, but we do have next a report from our committee representatives. SCAG does not meet until this week, and we already had a report on the upcoming demographic workshop. Do we have a report from AQMD?
Sure. I just want to go over again that our last meeting, actually 2 meetings ago now, we had our, the indirect source rule that I brought up here a couple of times was passed. None of the members from Riverside or San Bernardino counties or cities voted for it. This is the sort of the LA area pushing this on us, but the indirect source rule on the larger warehouses, the rule itself will now be developed over the next probably 6 or 8 months, maybe a year, but it could have a very big impact on our warehousing facilities out here in our Inland Empire. So it's something to definitely be watching on, and I'll continue to work with Marion and trying to guide them in the right direction.
Okay. Okay.
Want to add to that, Marion? Marion wants to add to that. Just a second.
Yeah, well, it was a 7-6 vote, and all the representatives from Riverside and San Bernardino counties and Orange counties voted against it. Every single one. It was all the votes were from Los Angeles County. But the good news is we pointed out that all the efforts that are being made out here in the Inland Empire, and that really surprised them. They didn't realize. I think we're particularly at the county level. We're moving ahead with some innovative and creative things on logistics centers, and they were impressed with that. And I think the good news. I think they're going to work cooperatively with the area, and we'll end up with something in the end that we will probably be able to live with. But I'm hopeful on that. Even though we had that vote like that, even those LA folks, most of them are practical people. One of them in particular was very concerned about the subject, but he got sort of straight-armed by the mayor of Los Angeles to change his vote, so to speak, and it could have been the other way. But either way, we're going to end up in the same place. Either way, there's going to be criteria and policies developed regardless, and I think it's probably for the good that this is going forward, and we'll do our best to make it as favorable to our area as we can.
Thank you. Do we have anything from CalCog?
Yes, we had our meeting. We had our quarterly meeting May 30th. Yeah, so there are just a couple items. One of the things that CalCog does is track bills, pretty much anything that deals with transportation. So they're currently tracking 99 bills. A lot of the bills we hear from the League of Cities because I work closely with the League of Cities. So if anyone's interested in what the bills are and what they're tracking, they've set up a link on their page. It's at calcog.org/billtrack. And then you can see all the bills that they're tracking. Also, they continue to mention RCTC in their marketing of SB1. I think they've taken the lead throughout the state on marketing and telling the story of what's being done with SB1 money. And one of the big things that CalCog has been focusing on is looking at any bills that will impact SB1. And of course, you know, there's a initiative to repeal. They know that there's enough votes, so it will be an initiative that will be on the November ballot. And so as soon as they get information on that number and information on it, they'll be sending that out. And then the last thing is CalCog's been working on an academy for regional leaders. So they have the baseline information posted on the website. You can just go to calcog.org and look for that. And so if you're interested in sending anybody, this year it will be less expensive. Caltrans actually gave them a grant to put this together, help put it together. So it's pretty cost effective. So if anyone's interested in sending their leaders, and these are staff leaders, not talking about elected folks, to this academy, it could be a great opportunity. And that's all I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Report from Rick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple things. First, as you all know, General Assembly will be the next meeting of WRCOG. That's set for Thursday night, June 21st. As per our meeting this morning, the event is, for all practical purposes, sold out. I mean, we're able to maybe squeeze in a few more sponsorships if they come our way, but we're really looking forward to a great evening with Mr. Forbes. So hopefully you have your tables and the attendees that are going to be making it to the event on behalf of your jurisdiction or agency. Second, I just wanted to point out that was distributed to each of you, this little annual report. We've heard on more than one occasion it'd be great to sort of have a easy-to-read document that discusses some of WRCOG's major programs, and so we're really proud to hopefully this meets the intent of that. We're also working on infographics for a number of our programs, and one of our ideas is that we would actually have an infographic insert that would go into our General Assembly program this year. So we've always had descriptions of our programs in the General Assembly program, but this year we're looking to make it an infographic insert, so it would just basically provide the same information, similar to what you saw when Chris was talking about the active transportation plan, and it just provides you and your constituents with a different way to learn more about WRCOG. So we hope that these resources are helpful. And that concludes my comments.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any suggestions for future agendas? Such a lively group today. I would like to see if we could have an update regarding our homeless initiatives from the Beyond funds, to see what's happening with that. Do we have any general announcements? Oh, we do have. District 5, Supervisor? No? Harupa Valley.
Good afternoon. Actually, I wanted to ask for a possible future agenda item. The Oh Wow Steering Committee is going through their Plan Update 2018,